I'm Stuff reporter Philip Matthews, and Munted is my perspective on the Christchurch earthquakes. Over 7 episodes, we'll show how and why a New Zealand city was munted, first by Mother Nature and then by politics. This time on Munted, reopening the city's living room. It's goodbye Ilam's Rose, and we remember those we lost. In this episode we ask, how do you build a memorial to those who have lost their lives in a disaster? We are now 1 decade on from the devastating earthquake that struck Christchurch in February 2011 and killed 185 people. A memorial to those we lost was seen as a crucial element of the rebuild blueprint that was imposed by the government on the city in 2012. Yet somehow the city has ended up with 3 memorials. The blueprint's official memorial cost $11 million and emerged from a public competition. Of the 6 shortlisted entries, the winning entry, by Slovenian architect Gregor Veržak, was the least specific to Christchurch and perhaps even the least imaginative. It feels sombre and impersonal, like a World War I memorial you would see in Flanders. Cherry trees that would have linked it to Japan were replaced by maple trees. And during ceremonies, it resembles a stage that is separated by a moat from the public on the north side of the river. There were also questions about the placement of a memorial at a site that had no connection to the earthquakes, next to a busy road that doesn't aid quiet reflection. And trees that were up to 150 years old were removed to make way for the memorial. But for some family members, it provided comfort.
Just beautiful and calm, and just a nice space to be able to reflect on what's happened.
There was official remembering and unofficial remembering. Flowers in road cones and in rivers became part of Christchurch's homegrown earthquake folk art. Local artist Peter Magendi sourced 185 chairs and painted them white for an enduringly popular installation that opened in February 2012. It will soon move to its 3rd location, here at the site of the old St Luke's Church.
I think people engaged pretty strongly with it. I also think it sort of transcended the earthquake and became a place where you could recognise loss. I spoke to any number of people that had lost someone quite recently, had that empty chair at home.
Magendi has also been aware of the community's criticisms of the official memorial.
It's so impersonal. Doesn't say anything about Canterbury, Christchurch, none of our story. I mean, ours is chairs, you'll find one in your house. I don't know how much Italian marble you got.
And while it may seem simplistic to some, 185 empty chairs is memorial art conceived from the ground up, made for and by a community. It has a human scale and carried emotional weight. Another place that carried emotional weight was the earthquake-damaged Anglican Cathedral. There has been progress lately. The hopeful words, "All will be well," suddenly appeared on a colourful banner outside the cathedral a little over a year ago to announce that work had started after the long and depressing stalemate between church management, who tried to demolish and replace the revered building, and those in the wider community who fought to maintain it. But as one historic cathedral slowly goes back up, another one, arguably much more beautiful, is coming down. The city's Catholic community had expected to see at least some of its Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament restored, but the bishop eventually opted for demolition, concerned about a $149 million price tag.
It was a real symbol of who we were, and so it's hard and difficult to have to say that we're bringing this part of our faith to an end at this place.
The Catholic Cathedral is not the only Christchurch monument to have been taken down recently. Jerry Brownlee, MP for Ilam for 24 years, also seemed like a permanent feature on the skyline. He dominated the national government's management of the earthquake recovery and rebuild and was a polarising figure. But if you thought you had a bad 2020, Brownlee had an even worse one. When he became National Deputy Leader, the rest of New Zealand got to see Brownlee's distinctive and sometimes entertaining political style, the one that had so captivated stressed-out Cantabrians during the earthquake era. There were regrettable conspiracy theories,
I'm just outlining facts.
outbursts at journos,
Your people give me the bloody laziest buggery.
and unfortunate election talking points.
Does your obesity, is that your responsibility or is it the state's responsibility?
Oh, that's mine.
Brownlee's island stronghold was lost to the red tide that turned Christchurch into a Labour city. He remains a list MP, but lacks any real influence.
Are we likely to see you back as a woodworking teacher at some point?
I think I might be past that.
And while some will miss Brownlee,
I think he is like a big brother. And I wish him well. We all feel really sad that he's no longer representing our area. We're going to lose a big brother.
but we will always have the town hall to remember him by. Brownlee supported the demolition of this Christchurch masterpiece and its replacement by a new building. The Christchurch City Council defied him, and when the town hall reopened in 2019, you could see it as a tribute to that civic defiance, as well as a salute to the two legendary modernist architects who designed it, Miles Warren and the late Morris Marnie. It has now been restored to its former glory and has been called the city's living room. All buildings are memorials, memory triggers, or records of human activity if they're good enough to last. But there is a third earthquake space. Along with the official wall by the river and the 185 empty chairs, there is the CTV building site. 115 people died on this very spot, which was turned into an unassuming, intimate public park with raw concrete foundations remaining from the disaster. Unlike the official memorial, it has cherry trees.
Well, we asked for a beautiful place to reflect that we lost the beautiful people here, to reflect that they still add value and beauty to the city. And you can see the flowers and the trees and the landscaping. So it captured some of the ideas that we asked for.
And in these contrasting styles of memorials, perhaps you can discern something greater, something about the politics of the earthquake era in Christchurch. Something important about the difference between a vision imposed from above and a response that is raw and honest and identifiably local.